Okay, small group leaders, I've got some notes for you. Matt Furby just preached a message on how God sustains us, okay? So you got your message notes. If you need more notes, they should be in the attachment. Also with the discussion questions. Let me walk you through the discussion questions just to give you a little more perspective on these, okay? So question one, what was your favorite point in the message? I've been starting the questions off this way because I like the idea of going back to the sermon and give the small group an opportunity to connect with the sermon. What was their favorite point and why? Why did they like it? It's also an opportunity, we just found out in our small group last time, to expose those who missed the service. And yeah, public shaming, say, where were you? Now we actually had like half of our group miss the service. I had no idea. We just asked this question and they're looking around like, don't know, I didn't hear the sermon. So, and you can say, oh, well, you know, what a great sermon it was. And, you know, here's the point. Here was my favorite point. Anyways, I'm teasing about the public shaming, but it is an opportunity to encourage those who missed the message and remind them of one of the points of why you connected with it. So anyway, connecting with the message, favorite point. Question number two, what are some of the ways God sustains us? Listen, this question's important because it's a great way to think about the way God sustains us through difficult circumstances. Make a list here. Think about, you know, what are the ways God sustains us? How does he do that? What are some ways we've seen him do it in the Bible with people? What are the ways that that Matt talked about over the weekend? How does God sustain us? Let's identify them. And then on the other side of that, what are some things that keep God from, or keep us from allowing God to sustain us? Matt will mention Saul, King Saul. There's something King Saul does here that really gets in the way of allowing God to sustain him and the people of Israel. What are some of the attitudes we have that can keep God from sustaining us? One of the things I thought of that I think would be interesting is this issue of lacking knowledge. Sometimes when we just don't know about God, that could keep us from allowing him to sustain us. We don't know this characteristic of God or this this heartbeat of God, of, you know, that he even wants to sustain us. So the more we know about who God is, the more we can say, oh man, I want nothing more than God to sustain me through this. So that's question three. Question four, who is someone you've seen God sustained through hard times, and how did they allow God to sustain them? This is an opportunity to look around. Maybe there's people in the small group where you say, man, this was something you went through, and I just see how God did this for you. And it's it could be a great opportunity to affirm someone in your group. Or you can refer to, you know, your grandma or your neighbor, or Aunt Kim or Uncle Joe, who, you know, someone in your life who you saw God carry through, and this is how he did it. So again, it's a great testimony period or question, a question to give a story of someone you know or where you saw God work. Question five is how or what are some ways that you've seen God use the church to sustain people? What I like about this is we can think about the church. You know, the church is a family. It's not just a service. It's about relationships, community. And so we can talk about the value of being plugged into the church and how really the church is God's idea of where we experience accountability. We experience encouragement. We have people who we get to come around who will become our friends and we'll fellowship with them. They'll love us. They'll pray for us. So these are some of the few ways, but go on, make another list here of some of the ways God uses the church to sustain and carry his people through tough times. Even very practical things like food and meals and things. But I think it would be a great time to identify those things. And lastly, what is one of the ways I can allow God to sustain me? What I think could happen with this question is it could be a great way to get personal. This is what I'm going through, and this is what I really need God to do in my life. And it can become a sweet transition into prayer. And so I hope that these questions will be helpful for you this week and that you will have an amazing small group. May God bless you. Please let me know if there's anything I can do for you. You'll be in my prayers. God bless.